We are live. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the DMI show. As usual, this is a show sponsored by DMI Digital Marketing Agency, a registered marketing agency in Nigeria and UK. So, and if this is the first time you are joining us, this is a show for marketers, small business owners, as well as professionals, you know, who are trying to harness the power of digital marketing to improve their business. So, live with me today is Nina, all the way from Kenya. So, and as usual, you have me, Abib. My face is very familiar, right? So I always host you guys here. And this is Nina. And today we're going to be looking at a very critical topic, which is customer first impression, how feature striking websites can actually improve your brand perception and credibility. I mean, in everything you are doing, you're going to be factor in your online, customer perception and credibility, and your websites, or your social media pages, take a very big stake in determining your how your customer perceive you and the credibility that you actually get. So if you are joining us today, let me know where you are joining us from so that I can give you a shout out. So we have Brain from Brain Chomba. So thank you so much for joining us, Brain. If you are joining us, let me know where you are joining us from. I know we have a lot of people from Lagos, a lot of people from Abuja, a lot of people from Ibadan. So let me know so that I can give you a shout out. So quickly, Nina, could you introduce yourself to our audience?
Hi everyone, I am Peninah Nganga, but you can call me Nina. I am a website designer and creative VA. I work with solopreneurs and business owners to help them leverage design so that they can improve their credibility online and build trust with their ideal customers. Yeah, so that's basically me. Yeah.
Interesting. You are welcome to the DMI show, Nina. So, okay. Okay, Brain is joining us from Kenya. Thank you very much for joining us, Brain. So, Nina, could you speak to the topic of today? What does it mean to have a feature striking website? What does it mean for brand perception and brand credibility?
Uh, so having a visually striking website goes a long way to like showcasing your first impression on
Hmm.
your ideal customers. You want to, it's like going on a first date or going for a business meeting. You want to be well dressed and you want to look the part and smell good and all that. So the thing is, you want to ensure that your website looks good, everything is intact, it flows well, and everything is just great. Yeah.
Nice, nice. You have made a very good analog right there. Like having a website is like, going to meeting, you got to dress well. That's a very, perfect analog for having a very great website. So Lina, could you share more light into what are the elements, that the website owner or business owner should look up to have a feature striking website? What are the elements we're supposed to see on the website, you know, to measure that?
Uh, yeah. So the first thing is the layout of the website.
Hmm.
So for the layout of the website, especially the homepage, you need to ensure that everything flows well. Like you have the hero section, then you have the next section, what it is about, The other section, the same thing as you continue through the website. You need to ensure that your client does not have to guess about what you do or what next steps they need to take. Yeah. So that is the first thing, your layout. The second thing is the images you use. Your images need to be of very high quality and they need to communicate a certain message that you want to communicate to your ideal client. So you just don't pick images randomly. You need to ensure that it has a meaning for the ideal client. The next thing are your colors. You need to have colors that match your brand and also match your ideal customer. You need to consider your ideal customer in this, such that what is the color evoking in this customer? Is there a certain emotion they get when they see this color? I like to give an example of a brand that is targeting Gen Zs and a brand that is targeting professionals, let's say lawyers. The brand that is targeting Gen Zs will go with bright colors like yellow or orange because it's more fun and it will communicate exactly what Gen Zs are about. But if it's something professional, let's say lawyers, you'd use calm colors like blue, purple, something clean without having too much on your website. Yeah, so that's basically colors, and you need to play with the color psychology very well. Yeah, so the next thing is the buttons on your website. The buttons on your website need to have bright colors as well, and also they need to give a clear call to action. So that's the other thing. The next thing would be the navigation bar, the menu. You need to make sure that it flows well. Like your menu should not be cluttered. Your menu should clearly indicate this is a home page, this is an about page, this is a service page, this is a contact us page. You need to be very clear on that and avoid having too much clutter on your navigation bar. Yeah, so also the other thing is white space on your website. You need Your website should not be cluttered. You need to have more things, like have white space and more or less center the content and have white space all around. Yeah, it's basically it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
This is a great opening, Nina. This is a great opening already. So, from what you've said, the key element that we have to look, we have to take into account to ensure that we have a great and feature striking website are we have layouts. So you mentioned images as well, then color, so then button, then nav bar. So Nina, I'm curious. I know images and color they play a critical role, in having a facial striking website, right?
Yeah.
So, and there is always a concern about um, um, should I say, how do I put it now? You know, the ownership of an image, right? As a website
Yeah.
designer, we always go online to get images, but there
Yes.
are some images that are copyrighted, like
Yeah.
it is not allowed to use. So could you speak into that? Like, could you shed more light into that? What should we be conscious of in using images on our website?
Yeah. So the first thing is, if it's possible as a business to take your own photos, that is always the best thing to do because it
Interesting.
sets you apart. No one else has such images. You took them yourself. So that is the ideal thing you can do for your business. But if that's not possible, you can also use stock images. Now, these stock images we have both free and paid. The free ones are not copyrighted, so you'll not have a strike for using them. But the problem with such images is that you'll find them everywhere because one, they are free, and two, everyone is just using them. So when a customer comes on your website, they'll be like, oh, I saw this image somewhere else. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And it might not, as a business, it might just put you on a certain level that you don't want to be, but we work with what we can. So for the paid images, there are websites where you can get such images, like Creative Market. You can invest in some really good images that will help you elevate your brand and make your website look a lot more appealing compared to anyone using free images. Now, for the images, one thing you should not do is go on Google, search for something, then go on images and download. Do not do that.
Hmm.
That will get you a copyright strike because you don't know whether the image is paid for or not. It is not yours. You did not get it from a stock image site. So please, that is the main thing you should avoid. Yeah.
Hmm. Interesting. You've actually, broken a table right there. Because what every website designer, I mean, like literally every website over there, even international businesses, they do it, right? They just go on Google and they take up images and use it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So on this show we have a lot of business owners, small business owners, right? So
Mhm.
you've noted that we should do as much as possible to invest on images, right, which is
Yes.
exclusive for that business. So for small business owners they are just coming out, they don't have a lot to invest in images, could you mention some websites where we could get some free images that could help?
Yeah. So for free images, my favorite, I'll give you two of them. So there's Unsplash, that is unsplash.com. And also there's Pixels, that is pexels.com. Those two sites have really great images. Pixels also has illustrations, which is amazing. Yeah, so you can use those two websites.
Okay, great. So if you are a small business owners and you've been using free images online, so you got to pay attention to these two websites that Nina has give us. I've shared it on the comments. So on Splash and Pixel. So those are two major places where you could actually get some free images if you don't have enough budget to invest on exclusive image, basically. So Nina, so before we move on, could you speak to psychology of color? you know when you were doing the introduction, I love the fact that you noted that right away, that if you are the website you are designing is targeted towards Gen Z, you should look towards something like a yellow or orange color, right? And if you're actually looking at, the market is focusing on professionals, you could actually look at, blue color or purple color, right? So could you speak, what's the relationship between those colors and the target audience? What does it mean? What is the psychology behind that? Why yellow, why purple image for Gen Z? Why blue and purple image for professionals? Could you speak into that?
Okay, so when it comes to color psychology, each
Mm,
color has a certain emotion it evokes. It has a certain perception it brings
mm,
up. So for something like blue, you'll mostly see that it is associated with trust. That is why most apps will use such a color. Yellow is associated with fun, happy, liveliness, all that. Also, purple is associated with royalty, wealth. So when it comes to colors, there's that when you see that color, you're like, there's a perception you get, and there's a certain emotion that follows the perception that you have. So as a brand, you don't just go and pick a color randomly. You want to ensure that you know what you want your customers to feel, what you want your customers to perceive when they interact with your website. That is how to best look at the best color you can get for your brand. Yeah.
Hmm. Interesting. Interesting. That's a very profound point right there, Nina. Could you suggest a place where we could actually read more about color and what it means? You say that blue it's meant to be. This is a general knowledge, right? But many people don't know. They don't know what it means, right? Like
Yeah.
blue is for something like trust or something. Do you have a website where our participants could go on to read more about color and what each color means? Do you have any or
Like
something?
the best thing would be to just search for color psychology on Google, and
Right.
you'll have all the information you need on there. The first articles will break down everything you need to know. Yeah.
So you've heard from our guests, right? Go to the University of Google. So to go and read about more color, what each color means. So thank you very much for that, Nina. So Nina, let's move forward. So let's go to layouts. So layouts in website design really play a very, very important and essential role, right? So I don't know. I mean, without layout, without proper layout, no matter how great image you have, no matter how consciously you pick your color, the website is going to look cluttered. So could you speak into layouts? What are the things we should be concerned when we are, and what are the things we should pay attention to? And if you could actually give us a picture of how a typical feature appealing website, if a typical great website, what the structure should look like for the home page.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. So for the layout, this I like to say that as a customer, when I get to your website, please, I need to know what you do immediately to help me understand if I'll continue to engage with your website or I will not and just click off. So the first thing is that first hero section, the when you enter a URL, when you land that thing, that first page you land on, it's called the
Hmm.
hero section. So this page, you want to ensure that you have an image, preferably to this my right, and then you have text to my left, where you have clearly indicated what you do, who you help, and how you help them. And most importantly, you include a call to action button. Now, why is this important? In a buyer's journey, there are those who are most aware, and there are those who are unaware, and there are other two in between. So, for the most aware, when they get to your, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Oh, nice. When they get to your hero section, they'll convert quite fast because they already know what their problem is. They know the kind of solution they are looking for, and they know they are ready to get that solution. So they'll be more inclined to engage with everything that is on your hero section before they even move further. But someone like who is not aware, someone who needs more assurance, that hero section will show them that, oh, yes, they know my problem now. Let's continue and see what else they have to offer before I engage with them. Okay. The next thing is the next section, you can include something like your services and have section for each service. and each service should have a call to action button as well that leads them to that specific service and the specific actions they should take to contact you. The next thing you can include your about section. That is, if you're a small business and let's say you're a solopreneur, you can include your image. Now, this is very important. It helps you build trust. Adding an image of yourself, if you're running a solopreneur business, is very important on the homepage. But if you're running a company, you can add it to your about page to build trust and also to ensure that you can also include other your what are they called? I don't have them. Employees. Yes. You
All
can
right.
include your employees in your about page. Yeah. So the other thing on your homepage is to add testimonials or reviews. What are people saying about you? What are people saying about your services or your products? This is another way to be like to give the customer the assurance that, oh yeah, wow, this is a brand that I can work with. They know my problem. They have solved the same problem for other people and I can work with them. The other thing on the homepage that you can also include is some of the work you have done. Now, this is a good idea, especially for designers, writers, those providing services that you can actually document what you did. This will help the customer just go to the work you have done, see what you have done, and determine whether you are a good fit for them or not. Yeah, so that's basically it. And
Woo,
lastly, we have the footer section, of course. Yes. Yeah.
woo. Amazing. Very excellent, structure right there. Very simple but excellent structure right there. Your website don't need to be cluttered. You don't need to be. Your website should be simple as how Nina has already give us the pattern right there.
Yes.
So I really love the simplicity of the layout that you actually define for us. As you are saying it, I'm seeing it in my head. Yeah, I'm seeing it in my head. Thank you very much you know for um for that. So Nina, so sometime we got to come across some businesses that they have a conflict in terms of their brand identity. What do I mean? In their social media posts, you see different pages on the post on the graphics, a different color, something, different fonts, right? And when you come to the website, you see some other thing. Though sometimes you might see something related, but at least you will see something different between what they represent in terms of brand identity on their social media and what they represent on their website. So Nina, could you speak into that? How could that be a challenge, to to any businesses in terms of from the customer perspective? How could they affect their customer impression and credibility?
Now, um, when a brand has such confusion on their social media, on their website, this just for the customer, they just see confusion. They just see, hey, this brand,
Right.
I'm not sure if I can work with them. So there's this thing we called brand consistency.
Hmm.
And to achieve brand consistency, you need a brand design guide. You need to ensure that you have your colors laid out very well. You have the specific graphics that you will alternate. You have your logo, you have your product images and all that. Now, this brand design guide helps you to avoid such confusion. Not that today you saw that purple color looks really nice. Let me add that to my social media. Tomorrow it's that yellow color. No, you don't do that. People will not even have that. When I see purple, I think of this brand. They won't have that with your brand. You need to pick your colors very clearly and stick to them. Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. So, um, so very, 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 very great points right there. Very, very, amazing point right there. So, okay, if you have questions, and if you are joining us for this first time, you are welcome. This is DMI show. So this is a show for small business owners, marketers, as well as digital marketing enthusiasts. So that are looking forward or that are aiming to harness the power of digital marketing, to improve their businesses. And if you are joining us for the first time, you are welcome to DMI show. So do well to leave your question in the section as we are wrapping up with our guest today. So, and if you don't follow us on social media, do us to follow us on social media. So today we are discussing, customer first impression, how official striking websites can impact brand perception and credibility. All right. So Nina, let's speak to, you know, uh, to the, should I say, geo website design or geographical location perspective to websites. As a web developer, for the for the past 5 years, I've understood that businesses in the Europe country and businesses in the Western, let me say in Africa, some shots. When you look at their websites, you will discover that they don't really put a lot of energy into the visual part of the website, the visual appealing, the look of the website. In terms of the people in Europe, they don't really put energy into that, except maybe a big organization or big brands. So, but when you come down to Africa, right, businesses, if you want to determine a great or businesses that are actually serious with what they are doing, you could actually use a website. You could actually determine that by looking at how their website look like. So I'm curious, is there something that is missing in terms of people in Europe and people in Africa? That is there the psychology of how they perceive a businesses or an organization through their website, is it different from people from Europe side and people at the Africa? Is there any missing gap? Are we not seeing things the same way? I want you to speak into that.
For me, I believe it's the lack of um, education around what a website can do for your business. For me, I feel like that is the biggest thing, because even the ones with a website that does not look good, they are really trying because they actually have a website. Some
Mm,
businesses don't have websites, they don't see the need for websites, but that's wrong. And I feel like it's the lack of sensitization on what a website can do for you as a business. Yeah. The other thing is, I feel like businesses and business owners feel like, okay, just a pretty website, what can it do for me? Just something sitting pretty there. No, that's not the case. It actually improves your brand perception so much. It also builds trust with your ideal client. It evokes emotions in your ideal client. It activates their imagination as well.
mm,
So, as a business owner in Africa, you need to make sure that that aesthetic, that visually appealing side to a website, you need to nail it down. Don't just assume that it's just something pretty. So no, it has to look the part. And actually, they say it still goes back to the dating analog.
Mm.
Like
Right,
you're going on a
right.
date, you have a business, you want to look good, right?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Because that first impression is very important. Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. So, thank you very much, Nina, for giving us such a premium content for free, right? So, Nina, let's speak to you know websites performance in terms of loading time and functionalities. Sometime you got to see some websites that they got a very great image, very great color, and even a very good layout. But then you will discover that the website got very slow. You know, the loading, the load time is very, very, very slow, right? And the functionality as well, in terms of, let's say, when you click on the button, how long does it take for the button to respond to what you are expecting, right? Could you speak into that? How could also help? How does that affect their brand, and how does that shape the customer perception of that particular business?
Okay. So when it comes to your website responsiveness and the speed, now
Mm,
let's start with the responsiveness. You see, when designers are designing, we are designing on a laptop.
mm,
So on the laptop, we can see very well what is this looks nice here, this looks nice there, this looks nice there. Then we come to the mobile. Hey, the mobile doesn't look anything close to what the laptop looks like. This thing could be here, this other thing could be here, and it does not look well. So you need to make sure that your website responsiveness is good throughout multiple devices. That's the first thing. When I go on laptop, I can see your website, it looks good. When I go to my mobile phone, your website looks good. When I go to my tablet, your website looks good. Now, when it comes to your website's loading speed, we look at there's a what's it called? A website. It's called Page Insights. Now, this
right.
website will give
Mm,
you information on how fast your website is loading currently, taking into account like the size of your images, the content on your website, and all that.
mm. Uh,
Sorry for that. Sorry for
okay,
that.
okay, okay, sure.
Okay. So, as I was saying, um, some things that affect your website's loading speed is the images. How big are your images? When your website is being created, you need to ensure that the images are reduced and they are compressed right, such that they don't lose their quality, but they are not too bulky for your website. Yeah. The other thing, Page Insights does a very good job of ensuring that when it gives you your loading speed, it also gives suggestions on what you can do to improve. So you can check your website right now. Just go to Page Insights, check out your website URL, check your loading speed. If it's not good, they'll clearly indicate excellent, good, bad, poor. So you can just go and check and see the recommendations they have for you to improve your website speed. Yeah.
Hmm. Interesting. Thank you very much for sharing that. Could you share the link with us in the comments, the
Yes,
page insight
sure.
link? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing that. So if you are joining us, please ensure to if you have any question, ensure to leave them on the chat box as we're gonna be wrapping up very soon. And if you are joining us for the first time, this is DMI show as usual. So this is a show for small business owners, marketers, professionals, as well as digital marketing enthusiasts. So who are looking forward or trying to harness the power of digital marketing, to improve their businesses. So I'll wait for Nina to share that in the comment before we shoot. And thank you very okay. Right. So I can see let me pin that to the oh Nina is out. Sorry for that. I hope we should be back soon. So let me just pin this there. If you are joining us, let me pin this there. And let me pin this there. This is page speed. Page speed. The website is pagespeed.web.dev. I could not share that. I could not pin that on the charts for some reason. I don't know why. And where is page speed? Right.
Maybe I
Sorry.
got disconnected.
Right. I see. No problem. So thank you very. So as I was saying, the website is pagespeed.web.dev. So that is the
Yeah.
website where you could use a tool where you can use to determine the loading time of your website as well as the interactiveness. All right. So Nina, so I want you to speak into this as we are wrapping up. Right. Sometime when customers are looking for business they want to work with, they go online to search, and most of the time it is home page that will come up, right? But sometimes some of the businesses they optimize their websites in such a way that it is the surface page that will come up first. And we've seen some instance whereby some businesses is very common. In fact, I was working on a website on websites for a particular business currently.
Mhm.
It's a website redesigning, and I discovered that the home page is very neat, very awesome, visual striking. But when you go to the surface page, is below 50%. When you go to the about, is out of it. So can you speak to that? Let's say I'm a customer. I'm looking for. I want to hire Nina, right? And I go to sorry Nina. I'm not used. I'm not going to go. I know your website is great already. So I went online to check business out, and the first page that pop up on your website is your service page, and I was seeing a page that is not encouraging, even though your home page is very great. So, Nina, could you speak into that? What is wrong? What should business owner do better in such an instance?
Well, I believe optimizing for your service page is not a bad idea. It is a good idea because you need to optimize for multiple pages to ensure that you are ranking for the right keywords for your business. Now, as you optimize for that service page, you need to make sure that it goes back to that first impression.
Mm,
When that customer lands on that service page, what are they going to see? How are they going to feel interacting with that page? Are there images to clearly give off the information you want to give? Like, have you used the right kind of content? When it comes to content, I see websites writing content that moves from the start of the screen to the end of the screen. That is wrong. No one has the
mm,
time to read all that. Nobody will read that. So you need to make sure that your content is well centered such that I can scan through it very fast. and go right ahead to everything that I wanted to engage you in. People have very low attention spans, so you don't need to take them on a ride. Just be very clear, use aesthetics to your advantage. Those images, those colors, that font. I forgot to talk about font. You need to use the right typography on your website. It needs to be very easy to read. Don't use bold on your content. It's like you're shouting at people. Don't do that. Only use that when you're highlighting the heading, but not on the content itself. So use the right fonts and ensure that all your pages, whether you have optimized them or not, all your pages, as long as they are on your website, they should look the part. Not your homepage looks really, really nice, and then your about page doesn't doesn't look the part. You need to make sure that you're coherent as a brand. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Great. So at least you've heard from the experts ourselves, right? So you've heard from the experts ourselves, like your website page should be very, very coherent. So, Nina, someone is asking in the comment that you should repeat the name of the website again.
Which
Brain,
website?
which website are you talking about? Is it the pagespeed.dev uh, of a thing? So let
Yes,
us know. Is it the Page Insights website? So let us know as so I'm waiting for that on the comments. And thank you so much for joining us, others. So we really appreciate your time, and we hope you have been enjoying this session with us tonight. So Nina, let's speak to the background of websites. There are lots of variables to consider in order to design a visual appealing. Okay, before she got disconnected, I think it's pagespeed.web.dev, right?
yeah,
Nina, am I correct?
yeah, it's that one.
Okay, right, I got it. So I put it in the comment section. So I think you got it, Ben. Pagespeed dot sorry. So I've shared it again. So sometimes you got to see that you have the website has a very great image, amazing color. They use the right color, but brand or businesses, they made some mistakes sometimes in terms of background that they use. I want you to clarify that. I want you to shed more light into that between using color as a background and using images. Yes, some I know I believe that sometimes you have to use image to maybe in a container, for the background of some container, you have to use image, and sometimes you have to use color, but people don't know where to use image and where to use color as the background of you know of maybe a page section or a container. So could you speak to that, Nina? Could you enlighten us on that?
So for me, when it comes to using images and solid colors as backgrounds, It all depends on the layout that I had worked on as a wireframe. It all comes down to how do I want this website to look? And most importantly, when you use the image as your background, you are obviously going to use text on top of it.
Mm.
You need to make sure that text is readable. Don't make it harder for yourself and for the user experience. You need to ensure that if you're going to use background image, you also use overlay on top of it, preferably a color that matches your brand and that allows the text to pop, such that that background image is not going to steal away from the main message you're trying to convey. It can complement the design on the website, but it should not be the main thing. Also, when you're choosing an image, try to make sure that it is an image that resonates with your audience, an image that communicates something specific to your audience. Now, let's say if it's a bank or an insurance firm, then they could use something, let's say, along the lines of money with a growing tree or something of the sort, but it should not steal from what you're trying to communicate. Yeah, when it comes to the solid colors, I am opposed to having a website where you have the white, then you have a blue, then you have a yellow, then you have no, like, it's too much happening at the same time. So you need to ensure that you try and keep all the matching colors and using colors like that as your background too much. Don't do that too much. Just keep it clean and to avoid stealing from the main message you're trying to communicate on your website. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you very much, Nina, for you know for that enlightenment. So, Nina, what's it's your we're gonna be wrapping up very soon. I just want you to speak into this again. So it's like we want to go back to where we've started, right? So, in terms of animation, using animation, when you check some websites, especially on the home page, some websites use, yeah, I think it's animation, right? Something that's gonna just, yeah, gonna be moving
Yeah.
and itself. So what can you say into that? How could that affect the customer impression, and how could that help? Is it advisable to use that more, or should we minimize, should we not using that much? What from your expertise perspective, what can you say?
Um, According to me, I
Mm,
believe that that depends on the specific brand we are talking about. And it also depends on what the animation is communicating.
mm,
Now, let's say, like, it's the art of visual storytelling. So, when you're using this animation, it should tell a story. Now,
mm,
you already know what your audience is struggling with, you know their pain points. If you could use this animation to show how your ideal client moved from their pain point by using your product or service and got to their ideal point, like where they want their life to be, that is the best way I believe using animations would, like, add to your website's credibility, add to your website, like, um, what's it called? Add to your website's, I've lost my train of thoughts.
perception,
Um,
right?
yeah, your perception and also the goal of your website. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. The goal of your
Okay.
website. that customer will look at that animation and be like, wow, okay, I was here. This is where I am right now. So when I use their products or services, this is where I'll be. Wow, I want to
Mm,
work with this company. So if you're
mm,
using animations, keep in mind what the animation is trying to communicate. Also, if your goal is just to entertain your audience so that they can interact with your audience with your website more, that's also a good idea. Just make sure that it's in line with your website's goals. That's the main point. Yeah.
interesting. So Nina just, noted something right there. That as a website, business owner, your website should tell a story. Very, very, very important point. Should tell a story. That is the whole ball game of having a visual striking website. You know, you are telling your client that, oh, if you know, give us your business, if you give us a website to design, this is what we could actually do for you. The same way what you see on our website is what you could actually do for you. I think
Yeah.
that's a very good point right there. So Nina, so thank you very much for joining us today. Could you tell our audience where they can follow your work, learn more about how to design a website, or do you have a product or something that they can benefit from?
Okay, so you can find me on LinkedIn at Peninah. I also have my website that is digitallysavvyke.com. I'll add it to the chat section. Yeah, so that's basically it. If you want a website, you know who to talk to. Yeah, I'm here to help.
So you've had that right, right? If you need a website consultants, you could actually speak to Nina. I mean, from our own website, you should know what you know she can actually do for you, right? Um, Sorry, Nina is cut off again. Is cut off again. But I think that's it. We've come to the end of the show. So we um you know we hope that this session has been a very great session for you, and it has been a very your time has not been wasted here, we believe. So um I've shared Nina website LinkedIn on the you can follow her work. You can see a lot of and also her portfolio as well. Right. So that is that for today, and here is where we're going to be drawing curtain on this session today. So till next time, do well to follow the DMI show on LinkedIn, on YouTube. So if you are watching the replay, you could get this replay on YouTube. You could get this replay on Facebook, on LinkedIn, as well as on all our you know our podcast podcast platform, literally Podbean, Spotify, so you can get all these they play over there. So thank you very much, Nina, for coming on the show today. We really appreciate your time, and do have a great day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you
Bye
for
bye.
having me.
Bye bye.
Yeah,
You're
bye.
welcome.